What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo. And ever since the introduction of the 7 Deadly Sins characters and the SS characters, the BS characters, I decided to go ahead and update the PVE tier list. And remember that this tier list is a list based on the usefulness of a character and also the game modes that actually are the most rewarding. So for example, Guild Raid is definitely going to be the most rewarding game mode in the game. It's the only game where you can actually achieve double attack stones. And then after that, it's going to be, between the Immortal Dungeons, RHD obviously because you can get the experience bottles. But really what it comes boiling down to is how many modes are characters good in and how good are they in those game modes. So let's take a look at this list. So the first character that we're going to talk about is Mod. And some of these characters I'm not really sure where I really want to put them because I haven't got to really fully test them. But some of these characters I feel pretty confident about as far as where they belong. And Maisie here definitely belongs in SS tier. The girl is absolutely ridiculous, and she definitely belongs in that SS tier rank. She is #1 in Guild Raid. She is amazing in the Immortal Dungeons. She's amazing in Spider Robot. She is a red attack type, so that means you won't need her for reviving Hell's Dungeon after so long. But if you have her early on in the game and you're playing her from tier 1 to tier 30, maybe a little after tier 30 and reviving Hell's Dungeon, she's definitely going to get it done because you just need a red team. You don't need a specific type. But once you get so high, you're going to need a red balance team and even a red defensive team if you even get past tier 50. But Maisie is just one of those characters that's just amazing in everything because with her PG stone, she just has 40% PG rate. She has resets on her first and second skill. She has double attack. She has burn. She's just a massive character, and I would argue probably the most powerful PvE character in the game. So we're going to scroll down here, and we're going to go to Deanne. Now, this is the 7 Deadly Sins character. This is the only red character from the 7 Deadly Sins, and I'm not really sure where to put Deanne right now. This is where I have her currently because I do think that she's going to be better than all these characters. Rugal actually here is actually pretty good against the Immortal Rock if you have his 3 PG. If you don't have his 3 PG, he belongs right where he's at. But if you have his 3 PG, I'd actually move him up a little bit. But that's the reason he's down so low. But Deanne here does have a 3 PG. She does have 50% PG rate in her core. And with the leadership like K's with a 20% PG rate, she's got a 35% PG rate. She's of course going to have those nice 7 Deadly Sins stones. And both her 3 PG and her default have fairly long animations. She also has immunity in her core. She has a nice decreased damage received. She should have enough survivability. I will be testing her tomorrow because she will be in Immortal Rock will arrive tomorrow. So I'll be able to test her and actually confirm whether or not I don't think she's going to be better than Karate. And in all honesty, Kyo here might go below her. I'm not really sure yet. But Kyo is actually a little bit more useful since he's a burn character. You actually use him as a good striker for a Mai. You can actually use him. And when you level them up, they do add more CP to your damage dealers. So I kind of have Kyo up there because he's still very, very useful. And he's actually really good against Immortal Rock because he does have super armor. He has hyper armor. The super armor actually weakens Immortal Rock. He's a red type. He has a 70% PG rate and second skill. I just don't know if Deanne's going to be better than him against the Immortal Rock, but that's what we're going to find out later. So this could change. Then we have BS Orochi. Now, BS Orochi, I actually originally had him at triple S tier, but the truth is, I've tried out Orochi in Guild Raid, and Guild Raid is the most rewarding game mode in the game, and I do put that above everything else. And he just really isn't that good. The thing is, there's other characters that are just better than him. Mai and BS Rugal are better than him. In all honesty, guys. Even Guinness is better than him for Guild Raid. But he is amazing in the Immortal Dungeons. He's really good in the Spider Robot. He's going to be good in all the other, game modes in the in-game content. He's insane. If this was a PvP list, I mean, he would be SSS tier, triple S tier, no problem. But I'm not really sure. I'm thinking about making him SS tier. Let me know in the comments what you all think about. But the reason I don't put him in triple S is because he's just not at the top in multiple game modes. He's very, very strong. And he is at the top maybe in Immortal Dungeons. But when it comes to Guild Raid, again, that's the game mode I put the highest value on. He just isn't. And then we come down to Meliodas. Now I do want to say I did have Genets here at triple S tier, but just like Orochi here, Mai and Rugal just replaced him. They are just better options in all honesty. So I actually had to move him down a little bit because he just isn't as good as them. He's still damn good, but he isn't as good as them. He's almost kind of like a Orochi now, where he's super great in the Spider Robot and great in a lot of other game modes, but he's not number one in Guild Raid anymore. And I have Meliodas here. The two free characters, Meliodas and Elizabeth, they're actually a little bit below Jeanette. Jeanette has that 20% PG rate for green fighters, plus she has decreased damage received and hyper armor. I do think that because of her leadership, I just kind of give her a little bit of an edge over Meliodas and Elizabeth, but I mean, this might change. I'm not really sure. In all honesty, for free characters to be this high in the ranking, I mean, they're above all these other characters. And some of you are probably wondering, why is Shane here? Shane's skills cancel very slowly. She does have 30% PG rate. I don't know. She just isn't as good as other characters. Katsura is actually really good, but during his 3 PG, you can't spam skills from other characters, and that's a bit of a problem. Adelheid just isn't as strong, to be perfectly honest. Iori doesn't have a good 3 PG, so you got to play him out to get it to his 5 PG. And there's other things that are also being applied here that I'm not talking about. I just don't think they're in the SS tier. You know, I'd say Shane and Katsura, there's definitely arguments for them for a lot of players out there. But I've had them in the S tier for a long time, and a lot of players agree with me to have them there. But I do think Meliodas and Elizabeth are better because both of them have 3 PGs. Both of them have 15% PG rate in the core. Elizabeth actually has 50% PG rate on her third skill. And we've seen how good they do against the Immortal Victor. And this is kind of a thing for the green types, right? The green types are the type advantage that's against the easiest Immortal dungeon of them all. They can't be SSS, the triple S tier, because they're not very good in Guild Raid. You know, Guild Raid, that's where the triple S tier is really going to come in handy, because if they're good at Guild Raid, more than likely they're good at everything else. Which proves to be true about the triple S tier characters. Now, Elizabeth here, she does have Starlight. And originally, when she first came in the game and she was the only Starlight damage dealing character, I would have put her probably in triple S tier. You do need a green defensive team for Reviving Hell's Dungeon, which Elizabeth is also. The other Elizabeth. But KOF Elizabeth here has been replaced. You know, Athena is just better than her. And that's really why she's here. But I'm probably going to put her at SS tier because I do think that she is going to be a solid character. And I do think that the fact that she does have Starlight, if you don't have Athena, if you don't have King, then she's going to be an absolute must. So I probably will put her at SS tier. So I'm thinking these three characters are probably going to be this blue here. They're probably going to be SS tier more than likely. But I do think Meliodas is going to be good in Spider Robot. I do think he's going to be a solid character. You can cancel his skills very, very fast. Elizabeth, you can cancel her skills fairly quick too. And these are some other reasons why they're higher up. Then we get into the yellow. And I do think that King is on top. Do I think he's triple S tier? No, I don't. I don't think he's triple S tier because I do think Athena here is better in Guild Raid than him. I have done videos about him and so have other YouTube content and so have other content creators. And King really is good for Guild Raid. He really is. And he's going to be good against Immortal Most. Matter of fact, he's going to be a freaking godsend for Immortal Most because he has the dot explosion. He's a yellow type. He's going to have the type advantage. He's going to be good against Immortal Nyx. I mean, he has hyper armor. He's just going to be a solid character, a very, very good character. And I do think better than all the rest. And Meliodas here, the yellow version, does have 30% PG rate in his core. And along with King's leadership, he's going to be doing his ultimates over and over. His default and his 3 PG are fairly long animations. And he applies darkness. So if you have these two characters, you can play them in Immortal Most where they have the type advantage, but you can also use them in Immortal Nyx. And you could put King in the leadership. You could have Meliodas on the team. You're going to get that. Meliodas is going to have 50% PG rate along with all of his attack stones. And Meliodas will apply darkness, which Nyx is weak against. They're going to be used in multiple game modes. And that's the reason they're on the top. Pretty Z, the only reason I have her where she is because she still is strong and she does have a good leadership for the Nest fighters. But I do think that these two guys are actually better than her because they actually have nice long 3PGs. It just makes all the difference. And in all honesty, Pretty Zero can die pretty easy. Iori is still going to be SS tier because he's still a super valuable character in Guild Raid. He's still a really great character for Immortal Most, but that's where it about ends for him. He can die pretty easy, and then so on and so on. And then we have Mion. Mion's another character that I added recently. Mion's actually a very good character. She is a yellow attack, and she's actually insane for the elemental event because she does have super armor and immunity. And you can actually cancel her skills fairly quick. The thing that's holding Mion back is the fact that her Starlight is only, it's just a quick sudden effect. It isn't lasting dot damage, but she does have burn that is lasting. So you could use her in Guild Raid on hard, but I definitely put higher value on expert and lunatic because the rewards are just better. But if Mion had a 3PG, her stocks would go up. In all honesty, I'd probably put her above Xion, but because Xion has a great leadership and he has dot explosion, good for the Immortal Most, I put him above her. And then we have Kim Kapwan. Now, Kim, I'll be straight up with you guys. I haven't tested him anything. I don't have the character, and I haven't really heard anything really that good about him in the PVE game modes. And in all honesty, I think I put him down at the bottom because he just has a 5 PG. He's a solid PvP character. And again, this is a PvE list. This is not a PvP list. But I don't think he's really going to be that useful. And even in RHD, you don't need a yellow balanced team. So it kind of sucks in all honesty for Kim. Then we have purple. We got a lot of changes in purple. And this one is actually very hard for me because here we have Athena. Athena, I think, is pretty easy. I think Athena should be triple S tier. Yeah, she's a defensive fighter, but in all honesty, she's super good. She's a cost 65 character like SS Mai, Rugal, and Orochi. She's actually very good against the Spider Robot, even though she's a defensive character. She is number 1 for Guild Raid for Lunatic. She is freaking amazing because of her leadership, the 20% PG rate for Purple Fighters. She's amazing against Immortal Typhon, which has already been tested. She's awesome, especially with her leadership. If you have her and Kula and Nameless on one team and they're maxed out built and you get a good run, you can actually max out the 500 million against Immortal Typhon. That's how good she is. Now, Eileen here, I still have her at triple S tier. And I'm debating on whether or not to change that. But in all honesty, man, Eileen is just so strong and because she just resets her skills, with the My Option card, with the Gintama set or the Serena set, her damage is just through the freaking roof. It skyrockets. Honestly, a lot of the clears that you're going to see against Spider Robot where you're getting the max scores, even the max score against Guild Raid is with Eileen. So she still is technically the best. She is difficult to play for a lot of people, but she really is still the best in my opinion. Her damage, the highest score I've seen in Guild Raid was over 900 million. And Eileen was on that team. So I got to keep her at triple S tier because I still think she is the best supporting damage dealer. And she gets buffed up by the number 1. That's right, by Mai. So that's something to think about. Then we scroll down a little bit. And I have Nameless here. And then I have Elizabeth and Bon, right? And then Orochi and Kula. And I've moved all these characters. I actually moved Kula up quite a few notches, especially because of Immortal Typhon. But Elizabeth here, I think might surprise a lot of people. She has 30% PG rate in her core, and with a good leadership, she's going to do really well. The thing that's kind of hurting her, she is a purple, and she'll be good against Immortal Typhon. She doesn't have any chill damage or freeze. She has poison and starlight. So she isn't really going to be that good as far as dot effect, but as far as having a damage dealer, being able to use her 3PG, having 30% PG rate in her core, she's going to be really good. Bon, I'm not really sure. I might end up moving Bond down. And by the way, I do think all of these characters, all 4 of these characters, are going to be double S tier. And Mion, if I didn't say it, I think it's probably going to be double S tier. But I think all of these characters are going to be double S tier. I think Kula deserves it. She's actually a godsend in Immortal Typhon. And Orochi moved up quite a few notches. Ever since his buffs, he is so much better with the reset, the hyper armor on his 3rd skill. You can cancel skills a lot faster, the lower cooldowns. In all honesty, I think that Orochi and Kula might be above Bond. I think Bond might actually go below them, and maybe even Elizabeth, to be perfectly honest. I'm not really sure yet. Until we test against Immortal Typhon, I can test these two characters. I really don't know. But they're not really number one in any other game modes. I don't think Bond's, he's decent in Spider Robot, but I don't know how good he's really going to be because you just can't cancel the skills fast enough. And that's really what you want. You want a character who can cancel skills fast enough. However, I mean, what the Serena said, you'll be able to PG really quick. Maybe you can do his 3PG. I mean, we'll see. He does a lot of damage, but the fact that you can't cancel skills fast enough kind of hurts him. I might have him higher up than where he actually belongs. You do need a purple attack team for RHD. You don't need a balance. I do think that Orochi and Kula are probably going to be more valuable than these two characters, but we'll see. I mean, this is all subject to change. All these characters in white, I want you guys to give me your perspective on what you think, where they actually belong. I'm just throwing out my side, in my opinion, of what I see here. And then we have blue. And I think it's no surprise that BS Rugal is on top. The dude is a triple S tier character easily. Easily. Double attacks on his skills, just like he's got the reset on his hyper armor, the 50% chance to reset. His damage is freaking absolutely insane. And just like his 3PG cannot get interrupted. And really the same with Athena. That's another reason all those characters are triple S tier characters. And I still have Dellen at triple S because in guild raid on expert, Dellen is still number one. I would still put him above Meliodas in all honesty, but Meliodas does have better survivability. So whenever I get Meliodas maybe leveled up a little bit more, maybe I'll change my tune about that. But the thing is, neither one of these characters are going to get buffed up by So, I mean, if you're using Orochiori in the leadership, then Dellen actually gets buffed up, right? And then Guinness could get buffed up, or Rugal could get buffed up. But I do think Dellen is actually better. He's an attack type. He does have super armor and immunity. And the best scores I've seen so far are with Dellen's. So I do think he's still the best darkness character. So as far as PvP, I think Meliodas is actually better than Dellen's. People would probably argue that, but I do think he's better, especially by a skilled player. But in PvP, I give a slight edge to Dellen's. However, you will find in the Immortal Dungeons that Meliodas is probably going to have a lot better survivability, to be perfectly fair, than Dellen's, because he is a defensive fighter, because he does have defensive fighter, plus he has hyper armor. And then we scroll down and we got Merlin. Now, I'm actually having some difficulty as to where to put Merlin. Merlin isn't number one in guild raid, but she's so good. You can cancel her skills so fast. It's so smooth, it's not even funny. And her default and her 3PG are long animations. Merlin is a godsend. Honestly, against Immortal Nyx, against Immortal Vulcan, she is going to be massively strong. Even against the Immortal Typhon, where only red has a disadvantage, she's going to be really good because she has chill damage. That's right. She is going to be massive. I mean, if you have Rio that has chill, you have her, and then you have like Rugal for a blue team. Think about that. That is a strong damn team. And I did move up Leona a lot. Orochi Leona, ever since her buffs, has become so much stronger and honestly so much better. She's a character that you can let play out automatically against Immortal Vulcan and she won't die. Because of the decreased damage received, she's got super on multiple skills. She doesn't get interrupted as often as other characters. She's got that option card that gives her the PG rate. She is freaking insanely strong. Crazy strong character. And Goro here is actually quite interesting. He actually is a blue type and he has the advantage against Immortal Vulcan, but he also has a heal when he's getting burned. And guess what? Immortal Vulcan actually burns you. And Goro will get a heal. Plus, he's a blue defensive fighter. He's going to do a lot of damage to Immortal Vulcan. And his 5PG animation, even though it's a grab, he's like throwing around a big bear. He still will run through the animation when you're playing against Immortal Vulcan. He's actually quite insane for that game mode. One of the top characters for it, in my opinion. But Merlin, I don't know. I'm kind of debating on making her triple S tier because she really is that good. I mean, I've seen a score of her hitting a 850 million with mine and leadership in guild raid, which isn't as good as Eileen, but man, it is crazy strong. So But I do think because Eileen is slightly better that she would have the triple S tier, and I think that maybe Merlin would have the SS tier. But God, am I? She's so strong. I almost want to put her in triple S tier. Leona and Goro definitely SS tier in my opinion. And then this, and then Leona 12 here, I actually moved up also for the same reasons of Orochi Leona. She doesn't have the buffs, but Leona, because of the poison damage and because of the heals, she's also just really against Immortal Vulcan. The two Leonas are two of the best characters you could have for that game mode. They are absolutely insane. I actually lowered Rio a little bit, even though he has a great leadership for it. I lowered him a little bit because he can die so easy. And in all honesty, if you have certain leaderships, you're actually going to do a lot better against Immortal Vulcan rather than having Rio. Even though he's still a really good leadership and he still can be used against Immortal Vulcan, he just dies super easy. Rock here, I might actually put Rock above him. But I think Leona would be in the SS tier. And that concludes the tier list. Let me know how y'all feeling about my opinions. You know, again, I think BS Orochi, I really go back and forth between triple S and SS tier. I think probably SS tier because, again, he's super good and he's super strong in PVE, but he's just not on top. He's not on top. That's kind of the thing. That's why I moved Genetz down. And these I think Diane's going to be an SS tier. I think these three characters are going to be SS tier. I think Mion's going to be SS tier. I think these two characters are going to be, honestly, SS tier. Athena, triple S. I think all four of these will be triple S tier, but Bond might actually end up being S tier. We will see. We will wait and see. And then for the blue, triple S tier for Rugal. Maybe triple S. I'm going back and forth between triple S and SS tier for Merlin. And then Leona, Goro, and Leona, double S tier. So again, let me know how y'all feeling about the tier list. Let me know, where you would put certain characters, especially the characters in the white boxes. And I do have an announcement. I will be doing a special stream with my friend Saint from Omega Guild Thursday at 9 p.m. GMT plus 7 time. Also, I stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT plus 7 time. The link will be in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one.